Hi there, welcome to Autoscope.
Welcome to Autoscope. There you go. Have a good day. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, thanks for coming in. We're happy to have you.
You ready?
Yep. I'm ready.
Well, we're back with the Autoscope Podcast, conversations with Nerces Mavelian, three-car BMW racing
Club
champion.
Yeah.
Three. You like everything in threes, don't you? You got
Hey,
the three. You
seems
got
to be.
three shops. You got the three wins there. You actually have three Carfax
Of these
Top Shop awards
Foxes.
as well. The other one it's on its way.
Yeah,
Just want to let you
yeah,
know. But
yeah.
we have this, and this is related to quality customer service is really what this is about.
Exactly.
And that's what I want to talk about today is expectations of a customer. For Autoscope, what's a good customer? And as a customer yourself coming in to get the best experience from Autoscope is coming in and is part of that communication, perhaps.
Right.
Is it?
Well, these cars are actually one of the biggest investments anybody can make.
Yes.
So I'm here to make sure that the car is taken care of for as long as you want to drive it. Here in Texas, we don't have rust, so it's a matter of keeping the car as long as you want, but it does take maintenance to keep it running. Just like a home, a plane, a boat, everything is going to take some money to maintain it properly so you can enjoy it. The worst thing that can happen is if you neglect the repairs and next thing you know is it starts to deteriorate and now you don't enjoy anything. The beautiful car that you bought to have fun with. And that's really the key as to how do I make sure that you're in touch, you're in tune, so to speak, with the maintenance that it needs to give you years of enjoyment. And cars are very expensive these days to buy a new one, even the used ones. But with tiny little bit of investment, you can drive it for a very, very long time. They're made not like the old times where cars broke down or up north where they rust right through. I remember living out there when I was a kid. But here, you don't have any of that. You have beautiful weather most of the time. It is hot 3 months out of the year, but the rest of the time, all it takes is a little maintenance and the cars will run for a very, very long time.
Well, and that's really interesting because even today, this morning with some customers coming in, a few cars that I checked in, a BMW, I think it was a 5 Series, had 205,000 miles on it.
Wow.
I'm seeing a lot more of that, and that just amazes me because I have not yet been able to do that, to keep a car that long.
Right.
And that's more because my wife wants to sees the next shiny car and she wants that one.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful to see that there's these vehicles that, 120,000, 170, that seems to be the norm.
Sure.
And they've been coming here for years,
Right.
and that's a testament, I think, to you guys.
Right.
But that's also a customer understanding that they want to keep the car that long. And that's part of, I know, the process of where you might advise someone. And
Sure.
I'm getting a little bit off track
Yeah.
here, but that's also a point where someone comes in, a customer that you've had for a while, and they're trying to decide, do I put more money into it? Do I keep the car? Do I sell it?
Right.
How do you advise them on that?
If the car is in great shape, if you have a car that's been maintained well and you still love driving it, there's no reason to get rid of it, in my opinion. And of course, we will tell you if it's time to get rid of it. That's what we do. We consult more than we sell. We tell you what you need to make the car last as long and as economically as possible. Because the more you delayed the repairs, chances are it would become more expensive to maintain it. So it's our job to give you the heads up. And a great customer would look like somebody that would come in and say, I want to take care of my car. I want to make sure I drive it for as long as I can, perhaps even give it to one of my sons or daughters or somebody else, my siblings. I want to pass that on. If it's maintained right, you can always get the new version, but that car can be passed on to somebody that can enjoy it for many years to come. It just takes a little bit more maintenance. Very important. Just, we, I mean, look, we have airplanes that have, without, the airplanes that last for a long time, you don't get rid of them. You just make sure that the airplane mechanic is doing a great job of maintaining it, and it flies for a very, very long time.
That's a great point, because I know there's planes out there 50 years old that are still up in the air.
Oh, absolutely.
And it does come down to proper care, not only of it mechanically, but even the interior and other elements to keep it fresh and new, and detailing it, washing it, keeping that clean as long as the maintenance to keep that car as long as you possibly can.
Right, and we offer the detailing as well. The paint care is very important, because as dirt, we have a lot of construction here, as the dirt kind of fills in those pores, just like your skin, you literally have to remove the dirt out of the pores and then fill them in, seal it, and then wax it, put a nice polish on it, to keep that paint from oxidizing. Because once it gets through the paint, then the paint's shot, which is
that's part of your consultative process.
Exactly,
with your clients, because I've heard this already before with other customers asking this, and this is what Autoscope does very well. They don't upsell you. They're not trying to sell you anything.
No.
And that's why I always kept coming back here, because it's more of a consultative process. That you would make me aware of, okay, well, you do have manufacturer suggested service coming up, but we do see some items happening here, but I never heard that you need to replace this now, or this is a good, it was always, we're going to keep an eye on this for you.
Exactly. Yeah. If you've got a dangerous situation, here's the problem with a lot of these cars anymore, because the extended maintenance scheduled, like 10,000-mile oil changes and maintenances, we don't get to see the cars in often enough. So what happens is, if a tire is wearing, a lot of times people don't realize that there is a problem with it. So whether driving it, all of a sudden you have a blowout, or suspension part that is like a ball joint or a tie rod end that is very, very loose. And we're here to also consult and educate our customers on how to maintain their car properly for a very, very long time. And that's what we all do. As a matter of fact, we don't call ourselves service advisors. We're consultants, service consultants. That's what we call ourselves. So it's a matter of getting the car properly maintained so that you can drive it for a very long time at a minimal cost. If you do the long mathematical calculations, you'll see that you're spending a whole lot less as you keep the
over
car
time
longer.
by being ahead of it, rather than having to have major repairs that could have been prevented by one of your inspections catching something.
So again, we would love to see the car once every 6 months. And we don't even charge for that inspection. If you come in and say, I just want you to check the car out, it's free. It's a matter of just making sure that our clients have a trouble-free car.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like you had noted early on, that your car is an expensive investment. I mean, cars today are very expensive.
Yeah.
And I know you work primarily, you do warranty work as well. And maybe that's for another podcast. We'll get to talking about warranty and after warranty. We'll save that for
sure. That's a good idea.
That's another discussion. That'll take a whole podcast in itself.
Well, more and more people have warranties now, and they have to be very careful on what kind of warranty they get. It's almost like buying a good and bad insurance. Just because you have insurance doesn't mean it's going to cover everything. Yeah. So that's a great podcast, I think.
We'll cover that in the next podcast, and that those 100 phone calls you get about your warranty is expired. Maybe we can we can lead them in the right direction of who perhaps might be the appropriate warranty. So in your mind, then I know from your personality and everything that everyone's a good customer when they come in there. You want to take care of them.
Yeah.
But just one more time to cover how someone can be a good customer that benefits them when they come in.
I think coming in and communicating with us what the issue is, and again, I would love to take some time to understand what is it that they're interested in. What are they going to do with the car? What have they plans for? So that's all in our initial meeting, so to speak, to understand that I have a plan for you and your car. If you planning on getting rid of it in 3 years, you don't like to keep cars very long, that's a different plan. That doesn't mean you don't have to have a maintenance.
Right.
You still have to maintenance. You still have to maintain it, but it's a different plan than somebody that's going to keep it for a very long time. So it makes a really interesting conversation when they first come in. When I ask them, what are your plans about this car?
Yeah.
But it's also to understand where we're going to go with that.
Right. That makes a lot of sense because early on, with the customer coming in, what are your plans for the vehicle? Like, well, what does that mean? But that makes perfect sense now that it's a signal for you guys to understand, well, I'm going to drive this car till the wheels fall off. So you know how to work with them to help them.
We prevent that from happening, by the way.
Well, but maybe that they plan
that's the key.
That's my phrase of keeping a car as long as you can. Versus some others where they just keep it for 3 or 4 years and they go to the next vehicle.
Yeah, it's more. I've done the math. I've done the math on, and I'd be glad to share it with you that you keep a car a specific time. And as long as you love driving it, that's the key. And most of us drive, the kind of cars we service, usually everybody loves that car. That's why they bought it. It's not just some form of transportation. That's not who our customers are. So based on that, how do I make sure that you're going to enjoy it for as long as you can? If you need to upgrade it to something else, that's great. But again, let's start with a first base is what do we do with the car when you're coming in? How long do we want to maintain it? And we'll be glad to consult you with it.
One thing we hadn't pointed out that Autoscope is European Car Care.
Yes.
So specifically that you have decided as a shop owner that it's these European cars, and these are high dollar cars, and we had mentioned earlier that they are expensive cars, but it's also, I know as part of your passion that you raced BMWs,
right.
And so you know them inside and out. Your techs back here are master techs and Porsche, Mercedes, and all that as well.
Right.
But you specifically selected that, but that also specifically selects that type of customer as well.
Exactly. It's the exacting customer. It's a demanding customer. It's one that the quality that they're looking for. So with that in mind, our Autoscope's tuned to their needs. So yes, we only work on European cars, not the Japanese or anything else. That's what we're specialists on. So it's a different type of client which we're in tune with, and I want to make sure that we serve them well with the longevity of their car.
Well, even your shops themselves are indicative of that clientele.
Exactly.
I mean, if you haven't been to Autoscope, we invite you to come in with your BMW European car, but you will. I mean, it's a dealership. I know you hate that phrase, a dealership experience, but it's unlike any other shop. And if you go to the Autoscope Car Care website, you'll see some videos of the shop interior, and I know you'll be impressed.
Right.
They're beautifully done, they're comfortable, and that's targeted towards the clientele that you work with.
Again, if I drive one as well, so I know what it takes. So I experience the same thing. I have systems in place that will give the same experience to my clients as I would like to experience myself. That's the key.
Okay.
So,
well, I think we're good with the customer care.
So please like us and subscribe and share. We'd appreciate it very much.
Well, that's it. Thank you for this Autoscope Podcast, Conversations with Nerces Mavelian, and we'll catch up with you with some more exciting and informative podcast here shortly.
Thank you.
About 2 years since we moved from Chicago, we were looking for a great place to take our car that we've had for 16 years, and we found it here in Autoscope. Absolutely phenomenal service, take care of us, tailor every single one of our requirements and needs to what we want to get done, timing, anticipating issues. We just really love Autoscope.